The storm does not announce itself. It simply arrives and turns the world upside down. And you, chosen one, are that storm. They never expected you to rise. You were supposed to stay small, predictable, easy to control. They mocked you, ridiculed you, convinced themselves you were nothing. But now they shift in their seats when you walk in. Their hands fidget. Their voices shake. They force smiles that don't quite reach their eyes. Because something in you has changed. You no longer bend. You no longer ask for permission. You no longer play by their rules. And that terrifies them. These people never hated you. They feared you. And now that fear is justified. Because the more they try to bury you, the stronger you become. The more they attack, the more untouchable you grow. They wanted you weak. Yet here you stand, unshaken, unbothered, unstoppable. Before we continue, like and subscribe, not for me, but to help spread this message to every chosen one who needs it. When you engage, you send a signal to the universe and to this platform that the chosen are awakening. And that's exactly what they fear the most. Chosen one, listen carefully. You were never meant to fit in. You were designed to stand apart. The power inside you isn't ordinary. It bends reality, shifts energy, and disrupts the illusions of control. They sense it, even if they don't understand it. It's why they tried to break you early, why they whispered behind your back, why they threw obstacles in your path. They thought if they made life hard enough, you'd surrender. But instead, you evolved. They fought you, thinking they were just battling a person. What they failed to realize is that they weren't fighting you at all. They were fighting the universe itself. And that is a battle they will never win. The universe does not protect the weak. It shields the strong, the unbreakable, the ones who have been tested in the fire and refuse to burn. You are not standing alone. Every challenge, every attack, every betrayal only brought you closer to your true power. Stop doubting yourself. Stop questioning your light. That's exactly what they want. To see you hesitate, to see you second-guess your own greatness. They want you to believe that you're alone, that no one understands, that your power is a curse instead of a gift. But deep down, you already know the truth. You feel it in the way your energy shifts rooms. You see it in the way people react to you, some drawn to your light, others repelled by it. The universe did not choose you by accident. It saw what was in you before you did. Look around. The ones who laughed at you before now watch you in silence. The ones who ignored you now hang on to your every move. The ones who underestimated you are realizing their mistake. You don't need revenge. Your existence is the revenge. Your growth is the punishment. Your success is the strike they never saw coming. You are dangerous, not because of what you do, but because of what you are. Fearless, independent, uncontrollable. That is why they tremble. That is why they whisper. That is why they try to turn others against you. Because they know that once you fully step into your power, nothing will be able to stop you. Let them watch. Let them fear. Let them fall apart trying to figure out how to break you. Because they will soon realize you were never the one in danger. They were. So, tell me, do you feel it? That shift in energy, that pull in your soul. It's not a coincidence, it's a sign. The universe brought you here for a reason. Drop the number 777 in the comments if you're ready to step into your power. And trust me, if you're truly chosen, you won't want to look away. Now, let's get into it, step by step. And if you're meant to hear this, you'll feel it in your bones. Let's begin. Number 1, they didn't fear the fire until it burned them. They mocked the spark, thinking it was harmless, until it set the whole forest ablaze. They called you arrogant. They called you difficult. They said you were too much, too intense, too different. But the truth, it was never about arrogance. It was about energy, your energy, the kind that can't be borrowed, faked, or stolen, the kind that forces people to pay attention whether they want to or not, the kind that shakes foundations, disrupts illusions, and makes the weak feel exposed. And the worst part for them, you don't even try. That's what haunts them the most. You never had to announce your presence. You never had to force respect. You simply exist, and the air changes. The silence before a storm, the weight of a predator in the wild, the stillness before an earthquake. They feel it before they even understand it. And it terrifies them. They never hated you. They hated what you represented. Power without permission. They spent their lives playing by invisible rules, bending and twisting themselves to fit expectations, seeking approval that never truly satisfied them. And then you walked in, free, unshaken, unbothered. You shattered their illusions without lifting a finger. They resented you for it. And now they scramble to make sense of it. How did the one they overlooked, underestimated, and tried to break become the one who now holds the weight of the universe behind them? They thought they had you figured out. They thought they knew your limits. But they weren't just playing with you. They were playing with the system. Because you weren't chosen by accident. You weren't lucky. This isn't some random coincidence. The universe doesn't make mistakes. It doesn't misplace power. And when the universe aligns itself to protect you, to elevate you, to guide you, nothing they do can stop it. Every trap they set will collapse under its own weight. Every lie they told will unravel. Every plan they made against you will backfire, because they weren't just fighting you. They were fighting the force that chose you. And what happens when you fight against the wind? It doesn't change direction for you. It swallows you whole. They feel it now, even if they don't admit it. The hesitation in their voice, the nervous glances, the fake smiles that don't quite reach their eyes. They are realizing, too late, that they weren't just dealing with a person. They were dealing with something far greater, a force, a shift, a disruption in everything they thought was stable. And here's where you come in, chosen one. You have to stop questioning yourself. Stop doubting your path. Stop acting like you don't see what's happening. You were never alone in this. The universe has been speaking to you in ways they will never understand. The so-called coincidences, the gut feelings, the doors that slammed shut only to redirect you to something better. That wasn't luck. That was alignment. They want you to hesitate, to shrink, to second-guess your power, because the only way they can win is if you believe their lies more than your own truth. They will try to convince you that you are the problem, that your energy is too much, that your presence is intimidating, that you should tone it down, blend in, make yourself easier to swallow. But answer this: why should you? Why should you make yourself small for people who would never do the same for you? Why should you dim your light just to make the insecure feel comfortable? Why should you pretend to be anything less than what you are, when what you are is exactly what was meant to be? A lion does not apologize for its roar, and the sun does not beg the blind to see. You were never meant to go unnoticed. You were never meant to be easy to digest. You were chosen to disrupt, to shake the foundation, to force change in ways that make the weak uncomfortable. And that is exactly why they try so hard to pull you down. Not because you are wrong, but because you are proof that everything they built was never strong to begin with. Do not let their fear become your doubt. Do not let their insecurities make you question your own power. Do not let their smallness make you shrink. They wanted to silence you, but now they can't stop listening. They wanted to break you, but now they can't stop watching. They wanted to make you question yourself, but now every move you make only solidifies who you are. And that's the real reason they fear you. Because no matter how hard they try, they cannot unsee what they now know. You were never the weak one. You were never the lost one. You were never the one in danger. They were. Number 2, they once ruled over you, but only through smoke and mirrors. A puppet that cuts its strings doesn't lose control. It gains freedom, and that terrifies the puppeteer. They never had real power over you, not strength, not wisdom, not even true authority. What they had was noise, distraction, deception, manipulation. They kept you trapped, not by force, but by confusion. They filled your world with gaslighting, subtle digs, and fake concern, each word carefully chosen to keep you questioning yourself, to make you doubt your own reality, because they knew one thing: as long as you were reacting, you weren't thinking, and as long as you weren't thinking, you weren't free. It was never about fairness. It was never about truth. It was always about control. The second you started explaining yourself, defending yourself, proving yourself to people who never had your best interests at heart, they won. They controlled the narrative. They kept you running in circles while they sat back and watched. And they almost succeeded. They almost had you convinced that you were the problem, that maybe you were too sensitive, that maybe you were imagining things, that maybe, just maybe, they were right and you were wrong. But something changed. One day, the noise stopped working. The manipulation lost its effect. The chaos no longer pulled you in. You stopped explaining, stopped justifying, stopped playing their game. And in that silence, they panicked. Because the second you stopped reacting, you took away their power. The storm only controls you if you step into it. But once you stand still, you realize you were never the one in danger. The storm was. They needed you to stay emotionally tangled with them, to second-guess yourself, to keep proving your worth to people who were never capable of seeing it. Because the moment you realized you didn't need their approval, their grip shattered. You see, these people never stood on solid ground. Their power was an illusion, built on nothing but smoke and mirrors. Their strength wasn't real. It only existed in your willingness to entertain their game. And now that you've stopped playing, they don't know what to do. Watch them now. Watch how they scramble, how they try to provoke you, how they attempt to pull you back into their chaos. Because without you reacting, without you feeding into their cycle, they have nothing left. And here's the truth they never wanted you to know. They needed you more than you ever needed them. Your energy, your attention, your presence, that's what kept their illusion alive. They weren't strong. They only seemed strong because they knew how to keep you distracted. They weren't wise. They only seemed wise because they made you doubt yourself. They weren't in control. They only looked like they were because they kept you in a constant state of defense. And now they are powerless because you finally see them for what they are. You owe them nothing. Not your explanations, not your justifications, not your energy. Let them spin in circles trying to get a reaction. Let them whisper. Let them bait. Let them create their own chaos. None of it matters anymore, because they never controlled you. They only controlled the story they fed you. And now that you've taken back your pen, they no longer get to write the ending. This time, the silence belongs to you. Number 3. The game is over, and they know it. The most dangerous person in the room is not the loudest. It's the one who no longer reacts. Something has changed, and they feel it. They poke, they prod, they throw their usual bait, waiting for the moment you break, waiting for you to slip back into their control. But it doesn't work anymore. They can sense it in your stillness. The old you would have snapped back, defended yourself, tried to explain. But now you give them nothing. No reaction, no frustration, not even a flicker of acknowledgement. And that silence, it terrifies them. Because for the first time, they realize something chilling. They don't matter to you anymore. Their words don't affect you. Their mind games don't touch you. Their presence, once suffocating, is now just background noise. They never expected this. They never prepared for a version of you that simply doesn't care. See, they thrived on your reactions. Your energy was their fuel. Every argument, every defense, every time you raised your voice, trying to make them see your truth, it was all power handed over to them. They twisted your words, reframed your reality, and made you doubt yourself. Not because they were right, but because they needed you engaged. As long as they had your attention, they had control. But now they have nothing. A puppet with no strings is no longer a puppet. It's free. And that terrifies them more than anything. They wonder how this happened. How did the one they spent so much time breaking suddenly become unshakable? How did you go from being reactive to untouchable? How did their insults, their guilt trips, their manipulations, all the weapons they've used for so long, suddenly lose their power? It's because you've finally stepped into something greater. You're no longer playing their game because you see it for what it is. A pathetic attempt to keep you small, keep you uncertain, keep you controlled. You've realized that their approval was never necessary, that their validation was worthless, that their entire existence in your life was a test you've finally outgrown. And now they panic, because they know once a chosen one fully wakes up, there's no going back. You are no longer explaining yourself. You are no longer seeking to be understood. You are no longer allowing their chaos to pull you in. And they hate it. because their power over you was never real. It only existed as long as you believed in it. Now that you don't, they are exposed. The sun does not beg the blind to see its light. Let them talk. Let them create drama. Let them twist stories to make themselves feel like they still matter. It's all meaningless now, because their words, their actions, their very presence no longer hold weight in your world. You have leveled up, and they are left scrambling in the dust of their own irrelevance. They will try harder now. They will become more desperate. The jabs will get sharper, the tactics more manipulative. They'll pull out everything they have left to try to make you react, because a person with nothing left to lose will claw at anything to keep from fading into the nothingness they always were. But it won't work, because the version of you they once knew, the one who explained, who defended, who played their game, is gone, and in its place stands something they never saw coming. A chosen one who no longer needs them for anything. Not approval, not validation, not closure, nothing. And that silence, it's the loudest thing they've ever heard. Number 4, they would have preferred your fury, but all you gave them was silence. A fire can be fought with water, a storm can be endured, but silence is untouchable. They expected anger. In fact, they were hoping for it. They wanted the screaming, the arguments, the heated words that could be twisted and thrown back at you, because anger meant you were still engaged. It meant you still cared. It meant they still had a grip on you, a thread to pull, a way back in. But what did you give them instead? Nothing. No reaction, no justification, no proof that their existence still meant something to you. And that is what truly broke them. Because silence is a void they cannot control. It is a power they do not understand. It is the one thing they never prepared for. They don't know what to do with it. It drives them mad. So they try harder. They talk louder, hoping to provoke you. They gossip, hoping their words will somehow reach you. They craft entire stories in their heads, convincing themselves that your quiet means you're suffering, plotting, regretting, missing them. They tell themselves you're just waiting, just one push away from breaking, from coming back, from proving that you still feel something. But you don't, because your silence is not emptiness. It is the presence of something greater. A lion does not respond to the barking of dogs. They feel your absence like a weight on their chest. Your energy no longer fuels them. Your attention no longer feeds them. The game they played for so long, the one where they threw chaos at you just to watch you scramble, is over. And the worst part? They have no idea how to function without it. You see, they weren't just trying to control you. They were surviving off you. Your energy, your emotions, your reactions. You were their supply, their focus, their purpose. And now that you've removed yourself, they're left with nothing but their own emptiness. And that's a terrifying thing for people like them. Without a victim, the villain is just another broken soul screaming into the void. They're scrambling now. You can feel it, even if you don't see it. The sudden outreach, the fake concern, the little digs disguised as just checking in. They will try to resurrect the old cycle any way they can, because they don't know how to exist outside of it. But you do. You've stepped into something they will never understand, a place of peace they will never reach, a level of detachment that makes them irrelevant. And that is what haunts them the most. They would have preferred your anger, because anger means a part of you still belonged to them. But silence means you are free. Number 5, you left without a word, without a trace, without a single damn given. The strongest move is not to fight. It's to walk away so quietly they can't tell if they lost you or if they never had you to begin with. They spent so much time making you question yourself, manipulating you into circles, feeding you just enough hope to keep you stuck. But they never prepared for the day you would simply leave. No final argument, no dramatic goodbye, no message explaining why, just gone. And now they're drowning in the silence you left behind. They check their phones, waiting for a text that will never come. They bring up your name, hoping someone will tell them you miss them. They linger in places, hoping for a glimpse of you slipping back into old patterns. But you never do. And that eats them alive, because the absence of your energy is louder than anything they could ever say. See, they wanted a fight. They wanted one last battle, one last explosion of words they could twist, one last emotional reaction they could use to paint you as the problem. Because as long as they had your attention, they still had something, but you gave them nothing. And that broke them more than any screaming match ever could. A locked door is frustrating, but an empty house, that's unbearable. They were ready for chaos. They were ready for anger, for confrontation, for some grand moment that made them feel important enough to deserve a reaction. But what they got instead was indifference. And that's their worst nightmare, because indifference means they never mattered. Indifference means you finally see them for what they are. Indifference means you have nothing left to prove. You see, the power was never in explaining yourself. It was never in proving them wrong. It was never in defending your name to people committed to misunderstanding you. The power was in your silence. The power was in your ability to walk away without looking back. And that's what they will never understand. You won not because you fought harder, but because you refused to fight at all. They don't know what to do with this version of you, the one who doesn't argue, doesn't explain, doesn't engage, the one who doesn't feel the need to set the record straight, because truth doesn't require validation. The one who simply left and let the universe handle the rest. They can keep talking. They can keep twisting the story. They can keep convincing themselves that you'll come back, that you still care, that you're just being stubborn. But deep down, they know the truth. You are done. And the reason they're still obsessed, still checking, still waiting, because they know once a chosen one walks away, there is no coming back. Not out of spite, not out of revenge, not out of some need to make a statement, but because there is nothing left to say. And that silence, It is the loudest sound they have ever heard. Number 6. They are trapped and you are free. Take away a liar's audience and all they're left with is their own reflection. They whisper, they rant, they scream into the void, desperate to convince anyone, even themselves, that they're still in control. But there's no one left to hear them, no one left to validate their delusions, no one left to fuel their game. And without your energy to distract them, without your reactions to cling to, the only thing they have left to face is themselves. And that is their greatest fear. They hesitate, they stall, they overthink every move, not because they're wise, not because they're strategic, but because deep down they are terrified to make a choice without external approval. They mask their fear with excuses. I'm just being cautious. I'm weighing my options. I don't want to rush into anything. But the truth? They are frozen in place, paralyzed by self-doubt, too afraid to make a move because they know if it goes wrong, there's no one left to blame. And then there's you, moving, choosing, deciding, without hesitation, without waiting for permission, without caring who disapproves. You are everything they cannot be. Because while they are trapped in a cycle of fear disguised as preparation, you are acting, you are growing, you are shifting, you are evolving in ways they can't even comprehend, and it kills them. Nothing haunts a stagnant soul more than watching someone they once controlled move forward without them. You see, they needed you, not just to feed their ego, not just to give them a sense of power, but to distract them from their own shortcomings. As long as they had you to focus on, they never had to look in the mirror, never had to acknowledge their own insecurities, never had to admit that they were the ones standing in their own way. But now they have no choice, because the one they used to manipulate, control, and gaslight, the one they kept tangled in their web of doubt, is gone. And without you, all that's left is the truth they spent years avoiding. They are stuck. They are powerless. They are afraid. You outgrew the cage. They never even realized they were in one. Watch how they squirm, how they try to project their misery onto you, how they throw out bait, hoping, begging for a reaction, because the reality is sinking in, and they don't know how to handle it. They see you moving forward, they see you thriving, and they hate it. Not because they wish you well, not because they care, but because your growth is a reminder of their own stagnation. Your confidence is a reflection of everything they lack. Your independence is proof that they were never as powerful as they believed. You were never the problem. They were. And now they have to sit with that. No distractions, no scapegoats, no illusions of control. Just them, their own demons, and the deafening silence of a reality they can no longer avoid. And that is a battle they will never win. Number 7. Your certainty is their confusion and their defeat. A wolf does not ask the sheep for directions. It simply knows where it must go. They whisper behind your back, their voices laced with confusion, jealousy, and fear. How did they know? How did they walk away before the disaster hit? How did they see through the lies, the setups, the traps we laid? How did they know who to trust, who to avoid, when to strike, when to wait? They can't make sense of it, because in their world, people don't move without permission. They don't act without validation. They don't make decisions without consulting the crowd. But you move like you already know, and that terrifies them. They assume you must have inside information, some secret advantage, some hidden force whispering in your ear. And you do, but it doesn't come from them. It comes from something they can't touch, can't steal, can't manipulate. It comes from an inner knowing they will never have. The storm doesn't check the weather before it moves. It simply arrives. That's the difference between you and them. They hesitate, they stall, they overanalyze every decision, waiting for approval before they take a single step. But you move with certainty. You trust yourself. You trust the signs, the instincts, the energy that warns you before danger arrives. You don't need proof. You don't need confirmation. You feel the truth before it's spoken. And that's why they will never outplay you, because they rely on deception, on fake smiles, false promises, carefully crafted lies. But you see through it before they even open their mouths. They think they're outsmarting you, when in reality, you're already 10 steps ahead. They watch in frustration as you dodge disasters they spent months setting up. As you slip through traps they thought were foolproof. As you walk away before the explosion, leaving them standing in the wreckage, wondering how you knew. But the truth is simple. A chosen one is never blind. The universe does not let them walk into a war without armor. They will never understand how you move the way you do, how you seem to just know, how no matter how much they try to deceive, manipulate, or trick you, you always come out untouched. They think it's luck. They think it's coincidence. They think you must have someone secretly guiding you. And they're right. But it's not a person. It's not a system. It's not something they can study, imitate, or control. It's something far greater. They rely on lies. You rely on alignment. That is why they will always fall, and you will always rise. So let them wonder. Let them whisper. Let them spend their days trying to unravel a mystery they were never meant to solve. Because no matter how much they question it, how much they doubt, mock, or try to undermine it, the truth remains the same. You know. You always know. And that is something they will never understand. Number 8. They thought you needed them. Now they're struggling to keep up. They mistook your silence for confusion. They thought your patience was weakness. But while they talked, you listened. And now they're choking on the distance you created. They truly believed they were your guide, your compass, your source of direction. They convinced themselves that without their advice, their opinions, their approval, you would be lost. They thought that by keeping you in the dark, by feeding you half-truths, by making you second-guess yourself, they could control your every move. They were wrong, because you were never relying on them. You don't move based on noise, on gossip, on outside validation. You move from alignment, from an internal knowing they could never understand. While they scramble, overanalyzing every decision, waiting for someone else to tell them what to do. You walk forward, without hesitation, without looking back. And it drives them insane. A lion does not ask the sheep where to go. They see your confidence and call it arrogance. They watch you navigate challenges effortlessly and label it luck. But deep down, behind their fake smiles and forced laughter, they know the truth. You are listening to something they cannot hear, and that is why they fear you. Because in their world, power is borrowed. It's given and taken, handed down from one insecure person to another. Their strength comes from outside validation, from approval, from the illusion of control. But you carry something they will never have: self-trust. And that is why, no matter how much they try to manipulate, deceive, or steer you in the wrong direction, it never works. You see through their illusions before they even finish speaking. Their opinions no longer hold weight. Their advice is nothing but background noise. Their approval? Laughable. They told themselves you needed them. Now they're realizing you never did. They built a throne for themselves in your life, but when you walked away, they were just another person standing in the crowd. Now, they don't know how to handle it. They expected you to come running back, to ask for clarity, to seek their wisdom, to need their guidance, but you're gone, miles ahead, moving in ways they can't comprehend. And the worst part? You did it without them. They're watching now, trying to understand. How are you so sure? How do you always know the right move? How do you make decisions without doubt, without hesitation, without the endless overthinking that paralyzes them? They assume you must have inside knowledge, a secret advantage, some hidden force whispering in your ear. And you do. But it's not something they can touch, not something they can steal, not something they can learn. It's something far deeper. They rely on control. You rely on alignment. That is why they will always fall, and you will always rise. So let them keep watching. Let them keep whispering. Let them keep trying to figure out a power they will never possess. Because no matter how much they question it, how much they mock, doubt, or try to undermine it, the truth remains the same. You never needed them, and that is something they will never forgive. Number 9, they tried to sabotage you, and now they're watching you win. They threw dirt on your name, hoping to bury you, but they forgot. You are a seed. They tried everything. They whispered lies behind your back, hoping doubt would creep into your mind. They spread rumors, praying it would make you shrink, make you hesitate, make you question yourself. They set traps, placed obstacles in your path, did everything in their power to make sure you failed. But nothing worked, because your power, your resilience, your destiny, it was never in their hands to begin with. A storm does not ask for permission to rain, and you never needed their approval to rise. They convinced themselves that you needed their validation, their acceptance, their approval to move forward. They thought if they could control how others saw you, they could control you, that if they made the road difficult enough, you'd give up. But what they never understood is this: you don't break, you don't stop, you don't crumble. You don't need their systems, their rules, their expectations, because your power, It doesn't come from them. It comes from within. And that is why they failed. They fought you like you were one of them, like you were someone who needed permission, who needed acceptance, who needed a clear path laid out in front of them. But you are different. While they scramble for approval, you move with certainty. While they wait for validation, you listen to something deeper. While they try to manipulate the game, you realize you were never playing it. They spent so much time plotting against you, so much energy trying to destroy you, that they never saw what was coming next. You didn't just survive, you thrived. The worst thing you ever did to them was succeed. And now they are forced to watch. Watch as every rumor they spread dissolves into nothing. Watch as every obstacle they placed in your way turns into a stepping stone. Watch as you rise higher, move faster, and break free from every limitation they tried to put on you. They wanted you to doubt yourself. Instead, you became untouchable. They wanted to break your spirit. Instead, you became unstoppable. They wanted to see you fall. Instead, you became something they could never defeat. And the best part, you did it without them. They built an army against you, but they forgot you were never fighting alone. Because while they were scheming, plotting, and manipulating, the universe was aligning everything in your favor. Every setback only made you stronger. Every betrayal only gave you clarity. Every attack only pushed you closer to your power. They thought they were pulling you down. But in reality, they were only teaching you how high you could rise. And now there is nothing left for them to do but stand there, watching, powerless, as you step into everything they tried to take from you. Their biggest mistake was thinking you needed them to win. Your greatest power was proving them wrong. Number 10. You are untouchable, and that's what haunts them. A lion does not explain its hunt. A storm does not justify its destruction. And you do not answer to those who fear your power. They hesitate. They stall. They wait for someone to give them permission to move, to decide, to exist. But you don't wait. You don't ask. You don't hesitate. You carve your own path while they overthink. You act while they talk. You build while they watch. You know while they wonder. And that is why they fear you. Because people like them need validation. They need approval. They need the security of blending in, of following the rules, of moving in ways that won't upset the system. But you move on instinct. You don't ask for permission. You don't need a green light. You are the green light. And that makes you untouchable. They tried to slow you down, but how do you stop someone who doesn't need a path? You simply make your own. They watch you, waiting for the moment you falter, but you don't. They expect you to seek their advice, their guidance, their input, but you never do. They think you're reckless. They think you're arrogant. They think you must be lucky. But deep down, they know the truth. You are something they will never be. Unshaken, unafraid, unstoppable, and it eats them alive. Because while they sit in their self-imposed prison of doubt and hesitation, you are out there doing what they only dream about. while they waste their time waiting for the perfect moment, for the perfect conditions, for someone to tell them it's safe. You are already miles ahead. A bird does not wait for the wind to be right. It flies because it was born to. They will never understand how you do it, how you move so fearlessly, so certainly. They will tell themselves you have an advantage, that you must know something they don't. And they're right. But it's not something they can steal. It's not something they can learn. It's not something they can take from you. It's something far greater. Because your power doesn't come from them. It doesn't come from their rules, their systems, their approval. It comes from within. That is why they will never break you. That is why they will never control you. That is why, no matter how much they try, they will never be able to keep up with you. They are bound by fear. You are fueled by purpose. They hesitate. You move. They watch. You win. And now, there is nothing left for them to do but sit in the shadows, whispering, wondering, obsessing, trying to understand something that was never meant for them in the first place. They cannot stop what they do not understand, and they will never understand you. Number 11. They thought they could replace you until they realized you were irreplaceable. They treated you like an option, like a disposable piece in their game. But now they watch you move like a force they never saw coming. They believed you would always be there, waiting, hoping, begging for their acceptance. They assumed you needed them, that no matter how they dismissed you, mocked you, cast you aside like nothing, you would always come back. But nothing has a way of becoming everything. And now they watch from a distance, from behind screens, from the shadows of rooms where they once held the power to humiliate you, from the sidelines of a life they thought you could never have without them. And what do they see? A version of you they never imagined, unshaken, unbothered, unreachable. They tried to replace you. They thought they could find someone else, someone easier to control, someone more desperate for their approval, someone who would play by their rules. But what they found instead was a bitter truth. You were never just another piece in their game. You were the one holding the whole thing together. And now that you're gone, the illusion has crumbled. A king does not search for his throne. A throne is empty without its king. They realize, too late, that it was never about them, that all their power, all their control, all their ego-fed illusions of superiority, none of it meant anything without you feeding the fire. Because while they were playing games, you were becoming something greater. While they searched for replacements, you were elevating. While they held on to the past, you were walking into the future without them. And that is what terrifies them the most. Because now they have no access to you, no way to twist your words, no way to drag you back into their chaos, no way to convince themselves that they still matter in your world. They wanted you to chase them. Instead, you disappeared. And now, all they can do is wonder where you went. They see you thriving, they see you glowing, and they can't stand it. Because the version of you they laughed at, doubted, and underestimated, that version is gone, and in its place stands someone untouchable. They scroll through your pages, replaying your success like a tragedy they never saw coming. They ask about you, but no one gives them answers. They linger in the places they once found you, hoping for a glimpse, a moment, a sign that they can still reach you. But they never will, because you've mastered the one thing they never thought you could. You moved on, not out of spite, not out of revenge, not out of some need to prove them wrong, but because their place in your life no longer exists. They thought you were just another page in their story. Now they realize you were the entire book. And now the only thing left for them to do is sit in the emptiness of their own making, watching, regretting, and knowing deep in their hearts they lost something they will never get back. Number 12, let them whisper, let them doubt, let them struggle. You are untouchable. They sharpened their knives for your back, but now they use them to cut through their own regret. They thought they could break you. They thought if they doubted you loudly enough, whispered behind your back often enough, and created enough obstacles in your path, you would collapse under the weight of their expectations. They were wrong, because now they don't get to watch your downfall. They get front row seats to your ascension, and it kills them. They see you rising while they struggle to keep up. They see you thriving while they grasp for excuses. They see you walking with certainty while they remain trapped in the same cycles, the same misery, the same self-inflicted prison. They thought their words had power. They thought their opinions shaped reality. But you never needed their approval to succeed. And now their whispers are nothing more than background noise to a life they will never touch. They wanted you beneath them. Now they can't even reach you. Let them doubt. Let them second-guess every move you make, convinced you can't possibly be this strong, this confident, this certain. Let them tell themselves it's luck or arrogance or a temporary illusion. Because deep down, they know the truth. You are something they will never be. They struggle, they hesitate, they live in fear of making the wrong move. Meanwhile, you move with purpose. You trust yourself. You choose without seeking permission. And that is what truly terrifies them. They expected you to stay small. They expected you to need their validation. But now you walk alone, stronger, wiser, and completely unshaken by the weight of their opinions. Let them struggle. Let them grasp for control they will never have again. Let them sit in the wreckage of their own making, watching you move on without a second thought. Because their worst fear has already come true. You are untouchable. So tell me, how have you seen this shift in your own life? Drop your experience below. Let them know they lost and you won. Number 13. They wanted you to break, but now they're the ones falling apart. They built a cage for you, thinking you would never escape. But now they sit in it themselves, locked inside their own delusions. They were sure you would fold under the pressure. They thought if they twisted the knife deep enough, if they betrayed you at the right moment, if they whispered the right lies, if they made you doubt yourself just enough, you would collapse. But you didn't. You stood up. You adapted. You rose. And now, they are the ones who can't keep it together. They see you moving forward, glowing with an energy they can't touch, thriving in a life they swore you could never have without them. They see you standing taller than ever, and it's breaking them from the inside out. Because this was never supposed to happen. They were supposed to be the ones watching you suffer, waiting for you to crawl back, waiting for the moment they could say, "See, they needed me all along." But that moment never came. And now they are drowning in the very chaos they created. They poisoned the water, thinking only you would drink from it. But now they're the ones choking on it. They're lost, confused, spiraling. They can't figure out why the same old tricks don't work anymore, why the manipulation falls flat, why the guilt trips no longer pull you in, why their absence in your life means nothing to you, while your absence in theirs feels like a gaping wound. And the worst part, they can't undo it. They can't undo what they said. They can't undo what they did. They can't undo the moment they underestimated you. And now they have to live with it. They threw away a diamond, thinking you were just another rock. Now they're left digging through dirt, hoping to find something even close to what they lost. But there is no replacement. They tried to fill the void you left behind, thinking someone else could match your presence, your power, your energy. But no one can, because what you brought to the table, it wasn't something they could replicate. What you gave, it wasn't something they could buy. What you were, it wasn't something they could replace. And now they know. Now they sit with regret, with silence, with the realization that you were never the one who needed them. They needed you, and they lost you. You were the light they took for granted, until they found themselves stumbling in the dark. So let them fall apart. Let them struggle to understand how they went from holding the power to watching you thrive without them. Let them feel the weight of their own choices. Let them sit in the silence they once wished upon you. Let them replay every moment they doubted you, every moment they thought they had won, only to realize they were the ones who lost everything. Because you didn't just survive, you won. And just like that, the tables have turned. They wanted your downfall, but all they got was front row seats to your success. While they sit in the wreckage of their own choices, you keep rising, untouchable, unshaken, unstoppable. Let them watch, let them regret, let them fall apart. It no longer concerns you. If this message spoke to you, like, subscribe, and drop the number 777 in the comments to claim your power. Share this with another chosen one, because the more we rise, the more they fear. Your victory is inevitable, and they know it.